Hello everyone, my name is Kayla. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, if you're returning, welcome back. And this is where I discuss all things business, beauty, and lifestyle. If you find my videos helpful, be sure to subscribe to my channel, like my videos, and follow me on all my social media platforms. Thank you so much for being here. Let's get it. For today's video, I wanted to discuss project cycle, and this is so important. I see a lot of people messing up with this, not having a proper protocol in place. So this is what I'm going to do today, is recommend the order of operations that I've seen work. I'm going to tell you why you should do things this way, and I'm also going to give you tips on avoiding issues with each of the steps that I'm going to give you. The first step of every single project should be to schedule an appointment, whether it be a job site appointment or a showroom appointment. And one tip that I'm going to give you today is to never ever give pricing at this estimate appointment, and do not promise any estimate deadlines at this time. This has always caused problems. I've always seen it cause problems. It never works out. Do not do it. Step number 2 is really a default step. Of course, you're going to go to the job site, and then next you're going to obtain the measurements at the job site. Be as precise as you can with this. Take pictures if you can. Take more measurements than you think you actually need. In case they decide to expand the job, you have the measurements ready. You don't have to make 3-4 trips to go back. I also recommend that you develop a way to share these measurements digitally. This makes it so much easier and more seamless for you guys to really get these measurements if anybody else needs it, and there's a way to track them. Also, one tip that I'm going to give you is send these numbers either via email, or you can do a shared note if you have an Apple product. This makes it so easy to access it for anyone who needs it. Step number 3, of course, you took your measurements. Now you're going to create your estimate. And this step right here, it's very essential that you are very organized, because this is where you can lose a lot of money. And I recommend, however you create your estimates, whether you use Excel or QuickBooks, I highly recommend QuickBooks for many reasons. Be sure to attach a copy of your measurements to your estimate. This is going to make sure that if you need to refer back to them, you think you made a mistake or anything like that, it's easy, it's on file for you to just look at it real quick and make sure. And a tip that I want to give you is to avoid forgetting any type of line items or missing out on any type of money. Make sure that you're always doing your estimate in the exact same order that you do every single one, as well as doing the line items, listing them in the order that they're going to be done in. Step number 4, the estimate has been created, has been reviewed, has been approved. So now what you're going to do is get the client's signature. Do not proceed and do the project without this. I've seen so many issues with this. People lose a lot of money because they do things without getting the client's signature. Things go wrong. They have to redo it, send people back. It's a mess. And then make sure the client signs the estimate every single time. Every change that's made, they approve it before you guys continue. Super important. Aside from the estimate itself, be sure to include a copy of like a contract or terms that you want to be sure that are very, very, very detailed, that are going to protect you from any type of problems that you've experienced in the past. Look them up on the internet as well. Be sure you can do that. That way you're protecting yourself from any type of issues that you may foresee in the future. And the terms and conditions should be signed as well. Perfect. You got the client's signature. Everything looks good to go. Step number 5 is to request a deposit. Do not start the project without the deposit either. This is going to ensure customer commitment to continuing the project, as well as give you money to pay for the material. I do not recommend paying for the material before the deposit, because getting the deposit is going to make sure your cash flows are continuing and everything is flowing properly. The tip that I'm going to give you for the deposit is that the deposit should cover the cost of material and should cover to pay the employees for the first payment cycle that the project is going to fall under, because you do not want your employees to not get paid because of your lack of preparation. Perfect. The deposit was received. So next you're going to place your order or your orders. And I definitely recommend sending these orders and keeping track of them, whether it be through a list, an Excel sheet, however you keep track of them. Make sure you keep track of when you send them, what the order number is, the ETA, all those type of things. And the tip that I'm going to give you for placing orders is to avoid placing them over the phone. It's very easy for them to say you never called, or you to forget that you called. So just be sure that you're sending them in the way that you can keep track of them and keep record of them. Step number 7 is to record the deposit, and I put this after placing orders because I want you to place that order as soon as possible. I don't want any delay in placing that order because of the supply chain issues that have been going on. There have already been enough delays. I don't want your client waiting forever to get their materials. And then make sure that you're keeping track of all the payments that you receive to accurately report your income and maintain your organization. And a tip that I'm going to give you is to always send your client confirmation of payment. This is going to make them feel more confident in your abilities, more confident in your organization, and that you're handling them correctly. Step number 8 is to follow up on your orders. This is so important. You want to make sure that you go through every single category, the ETA, the payment, all the type of information that you're getting to make sure that you're not missing anything, that no delays are occurring because you are being negligent on your orders. And a tip I want to give you for your orders is to pick a day in the week, one day at least per week, to check on these orders. That way you never forget. You make sure you keep this routine every single week and make sure that this doesn't get missed. Step number 9 is to stay informed. As you're waiting for your materials to arrive or after they arrive, touch base with your team, see where they're at, see what they're doing. Make sure that you're always updating your project information. You know exactly what they're doing, where they're at. And this really, really helps you to stay on top of it. Make sure that as soon as you know the project's done, you send the payment and everything like that. It really, really helps you to stay in touch with them. And a tip I'm going to give you for this is to create a group chat. I highly recommend WhatsApp because of different types of phones it's compatible with. And this way it facilitates communication. You're always up to date. And I highly encourage sending photos and videos that you can use for your social media pages. Number 10, we're at the end. The project is done. You followed up with the client. Now you're going to receive the final payment. Record this. Make sure you send the receipt of payment just like you did with the deposit. And then a tip I'm going to give you. If you added absolutely anything to the job, whether it was something small, it was a sill, a curb, an extra tile, an extra anything, make a change order and add it to a new invoice, because then the client cannot say, oh, this wasn't done, so I'm not going to pay you the whole entire amount because you didn't do this one thing. So I want you to really be sure and be mindful of this before you send the final payment. Add it to a change order. I also wanted to go over why do it this way. This is going to allow you to avoid making as many mistakes as possible by doing the same thing the same way every single time. Having a process keeps you organized and it makes you look reliable to clients, vendors, and contractors, anyone else you're working with, and it allows for maximum productivity and profitability in your business.